Hey guys, welcome to the channel at DIY Self. Today we'll be reviewing the UUQ rifle scope 4x16 zoom by UUQ. We'll be doing the unboxing on this today and just going over some of the specs and everything that this beautiful scope has to offer. So stay tuned and we'll get right to it. This is the UUQ 4x16 by 44 millimeter rifle scope. It does come with a sunshade, has incredible zoom properties, very well packaged as it comes out of the box. Has the mounts. This will be going on a air rifle in my instance, so this will be requiring the 11 millimeter. It does have the option to get 20 millimeter mounts if you're going to be going to a Picatinny rail. This is going to have the skinny rail mounts, so you get to choose that on the Amazon page, and there the mounts comes nicely packaged. And one of the questions I had, since the air rifle does have the indention, this is one of the things I wanted to check for. It does have the indention for that little knob to go in there so that your scope doesn't have forward and aft movement. So that's definitely something you want. Comes with the Allen wrench to bolt that down with. Probably go ahead and use some Loctite on these threads so the scope doesn't loosen up or go anywhere. Lens cleaning pad, CR2032 battery to power the scope. It does have illumination crosshairs, RGB. This thing does give you the option to shoot in red, green, or blue crosshairs. Comes with the flip covers, which is very nice. This one actually just slides off so that you can take off the sunshade. This scope has a sunshade that you can thread on to the end of the barrel. So it's very nice and gives you the option to have less glare on the end of your scope and give you better shooting quality. What we're going to do is go ahead and put the battery in this bad boy, and we'll run it through some tests. So the end just pops off like this. Your sunshade can then screw right on just like that. So it's going to add some overall length to it, but if you want to use that, you can. We'll set that to the side for now. All right, so to get this 2032 battery in, what you're going to want to do is open it up right here, and the battery just goes right underneath that cover. Nice and simple. I'm sure many of you are probably on this video because you purchased a air rifle and it came with a cheap scope, and first thing that you read about is just go on Amazon and find a cheap scope. Anything is better than a scope with no zoom, and just throw that on there. So that's what I did. This is part of the reason that we're replacing the basic with something that's a step up. Now you can obviously get a $20 or $30 scope, but this is a good step up from that because it's still affordable. At the time of purchasing the 11 millimeter 65 Picatinny rail is $55. So this is great, affordable, beginner friendly scope to get into some target shooting or whatever you're going to be using it for. So I'm going to pop that 2032 in just like so. Has the negative prongs on the cover, so we're going to make sure we line that up. It does have an O-ring here on the cap to keep any water out. So I'm going to make sure that O-ring stays on there. And one thing that I like about this scope, we're just going to snug that down is that on a cheaper scope, you might have these caps that you have to unscrew, and then you're going to end up using like a flathead to do your elevation and your windage adjustments. These knobs are what you want. You just pull it out to unlock it, and you're going to get those clicks right there on the range right when you need it. You're not going to have to take a cap off to adjust that, which is very nice. This also has the ability to loosen these screws and set your adjustments to 0 if you just want to zero this out and start from scratch. These caps do pop off and go back on fairly easily, just like that, and they do pop up fairly easily. So we'll probably, one's a little bit tougher. It wants to sort of come off, so you kind of have to hold that on while you pop that up, but gives you the ability to use this while either hunting or your target practice, and have this out in the woods or on the range, and just go ahead and flip those down to protect your lens covers. So that's very nice. What we're going to do is try to get some shots of looking through the scope. It is a nice sunny day out today, so we'll take the camera outside and show you the reticles on this. It does have your mil measurements, 2.4 on the windage, and the elevation 2.4, 6, 8, 10. So very nice scope, good quality, and I'm looking forward to mounting this on our air rifle and getting to test it out. So to mount the mounts onto the sight, I'm going to use a little Loctite 242 on the threads. You don't have to do this, but it's going to keep your bolts locked down while shooting a little bit better, and you're not going to experience any slippage that way. One thing that's nice about the UUQ rifle is they do have these little white index marks along the center line of the scope. So you can see that they got one here to represent lining up with this. It also lines up with the center line here, and then there's another one here. So this is all lined up in manufacturing to tell you where the top dead center is. So when you're installing your clamps and your mounts, be sure to try to get your center along that line so that your everything is mounted nice and flush and square. Alright guys, that's about as focused as we can get using this camera. You can see there the mils on the screen, 2.4 on your windage and 2.468 counting by twos on the elevation. Just gonna do a little bit of footage on zooming and with and without the sunshade. So this is without the sunshade. So we're gonna put the shade on real quick and see what kind of difference that makes. There's the shade on and the shade off. So shade on, the shade off. It does make a little bit of a glare difference there. All right, so this paper target, it's about 40 yards out, and this is on 4 times zoom. So it's enough to, probably hit center target where you want to hit, or we can zoom. Okay, there's 5. See if I can keep the camera focused at the same time. 6, 7. All right. Okay, there's 7 zoom. I'm gonna keep going. 8, 9, 10. All right, and I think I got the focus back there. There's a little bit of glare, but obviously that's not there in real life. It's just between the camera, letting the sun light in. So if I shade with my hand, by the time you get the naked eye close to this lens, it actually is very clear. Okay, there's that zoom 10. Now that I got my focus, I'm gonna keep going. 11, 12. Okay, there's 14 and 16. All right, so that's fully zoomed in at 16, and that's, like I said, that's about 40 yards away. So that's enough to get very much in the middle of that bullseye. That bullseye is about 1 inch circle, so pretty accurate. And then we'll zoom back out to show you how far we've came. And that's just an excellent upgrade for this scope compared to the scope that was on before, when you just kind of feel like you're guessing to where the center is. Now we can very much feel confident that we're hitting the center of that target. So, okay, so now for the reticle colors, we'll start with, okay, so that's blue. You can see on the side of the scope right here that there's a B, and then B1 will be the lightest blue. Then there's 2, which is a little bit darker, and 3, which is the darkest blue. All right, and then from there, you keep rotating the same direction, you have the R. So when it's on the letter of the color, R, B, or G, it's actually off. And then you'll switch it to the 1 that's the lightest red, middle brightness, and then the darkest red is there. Okay, and then green, which will be nearly invisible because of the grass background, but there's G1, G2, and G3. What I can do is take this inside where it's a little bit darker, and I'll give you a better visual for those colors. But for outside, that's pretty much what it looks like on a sunny day. So, and there's a little bird coming across the scope. Perfect. Look at that. All right, so that's pretty much it for this outside footage. We'll go inside and look at the how bright these colors actually are. Hi, you want to come in here? Shut the door. I want to make a little video. You want to come over here with me? I'm looking at the colors. I'll show you in a minute. All right, so now that we're inside with the rifle on the stand, I'm going to test the illumination again, where you can see it a little better. Starting with the blue, blue 1, level 2, and level 3, and then red. There's red 1, red 2, and red 3, and then there's the green. Green 1, green 2, and green 3. So it's significantly brighter once you have a little bit darker conditions. And there you go. So one last feature I wanted to talk about with the scope is the resettable turrets. So now that I've taken it out to the target and zeroed it in using the bore sighter that I have to get it close to zero, what you notice is that your numbers are way off. So this resettable feature allows you to back these Allen bolts out, set your true zero back to where your number says 0. That way when you're out at range day or whatever, you know how to just adjust back to your true 0. All right, so we're just going to loosen these up. Take the really small bolt out. Be careful not to lose that. And we're going to pull this slowly up off of here. And then once you get it up to where the teeth are on the very top part. So really you don't have to take this all the way off. Just enough for where the top teeth are no longer engaged. So just pull it up ever so slightly. And we're going to turn that to find our 0. And there we go. 0 is there. Remember, like I said earlier, there's a small white dot on the center right here. We're just going to line that up with our 0. Go ahead and press that back down into the splines. Take our bolt and carefully tighten that back up in there. And there we go. We're good and tight. Go ahead and do our side adjustment. For windage. Let's see here. Okay, so one thing to note with the 0 on your windage adjustment is there's not a white dot that marks the center line. You could always do the top, or you could do the side that's facing you. I prefer the side that's facing the shooter, and then as you can see from my 0 point, when you come aft, there's a line for the clamp. So that's an easy indicator to go off of. So I'm going to use that as my 0. And then we'll put that bolt back in. And we are zeroed in. Make sure we're still working. Yep, there's our clicks. Push back in. Good. These don't need a lot of torque, just snug down. And now we're ready to go to the range. 11, 12. Of course, you got the